Woo-wee. What's happening, y'all? Oh, snap. I got a good one today. Ben Koller, who drums with, I don't know, just a few bands you might know. Converge, Mutoid Man, All Pigs Must Die, Kill or Be Killed, and more for fuck's sake. Dude stays busy, plays in all the bands, slings all the sticks, cracks all the cymbals, snaps all the snares, kicks all the drums, all that shit. He does it all. We get into all sorts of goodness, not the least of which is our favorite 80s records. And, I forgot to mention that Twisted Sister was one of mine. So for the record, I'm going to go on the record now and say Stay Hungry is still a bad motherfucker. Also, initially subbing in bands and ultimately getting the gig with said band. Then, of course, balancing all the touring schedules with all these bands and getting a calendar together to even begin to manage all of that madness. And then, of course, balancing that out with having a family. We also get into the Blues Brothers, because Jake and Elwood are on a mission from God. That's why. Guns N' Roses, because it's Guns N' Roses, man. And what his German name actually translates to. So I'll let y'all listen to that to get that kind of info. But in any case, it's a good one, so strap in for the drum shrapnel. Ben Koller, ladies and gentlemen. Crash, bang, boom!
And it's Koller, right? That's
it is
nothing
Koller,
tricky
yes.
about that?
Like the toilet, but not spelled the same.
Got you. German nonetheless, I take it?
It is German for charcoal burner.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on, no, it isn't.
I swear to God. Look it
Really?
up. Yeah.
You're like an oven, a charcoal burning oven of percussion.
But it's weird because I don't know of any German descent in my lineage. I don't know any German great-grandparents or anything.
Really?
Grandparents, nothing. No, I'm like Polish, Italian, English, Hungarian. I don't know about any German, but my last name's German.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Damn.
It's weird.
Well, Ben Koller, I'm glad to have you on the podcast, man. I've been a fan for a long time. It's great to talk to you. What's going on in the Mutoid Man camp? Y'all are amidst a couple of days, and you got a tour, you got a new album, you got all kinds of shit going on.
There's a lot of stuff happening all at once. Yeah, it's pretty rad. Album just came out a few days ago, and we're out pounding pavement to support. And, yeah, everything's going great so far. 3 sold-out shows to kick it off. And a bunch of more cool places to go. Yeah, so far so good.
Badass, man. Congrats on the record. There's a noticeable BPM shift of the upper BPMs for the new record. What do you attribute that to?
You mean it's faster?
Yes.
Really?
Oh,
you think so?
I think so.
That's interesting. Yeah, I guess there's some fast parts, but
I think collectively, I think it's a faster record than the previous one. I feel like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess there's fast and slow. But I tried to add a couple more, Slacy DC type beats in there, a little more 4 on the floor type shit.
There you go.
Played by Dave Lombardo.
Yeah.
But,
Phil Rudd meets Dave Lombardo.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go. I'm into that.
Just whatever the song calls for, Yeah, there's a few more like poppier type parts here and there, so that they called for maybe simpler beats. But overall, I don't know, it's pretty all over the place beat-wise, I guess.
Yeah.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
It's great. It's got some great energy. Of course, the vocals are spot on. Thus far, it's certainly been my favorite. So congrats on that, man.
Thank you.
Tour-wise, I guess you're doing a couple of weeks and then doing another couple of weeks in July, is it?
Yeah, we're doing 2 weeks, and I have to go to Canada with Converge for 2 festivals a day after we get back from this. And then I have like 10 days off, and then we're going to do, another leg on the West Coast, Northwest, that kind of area, Southwest. Yeah, we just wanted to split it up a little bit. Well, I especially wanted to split it up a little bit because the month-long tours are starting to hurt a little bit more than they used to.
I guarantee they will.
It's a lot harder to be away from home these days because, I'm married with 2 kids. So
right on.
Those big chunks are a little different now. They're not really that cool anymore.
I bet.
It's good to split it up a little bit.
Well, you have an interesting distinction about your career thus far is that you've been able to, whereas I think a lot of drummers will play in one band and tour their asses off for extended amounts of time, you have seemed to have managed to have found yourself in a position where you can play with a few really awesome bands and got to be the go-to guy for those bands and not do relatively shorter runs. So I guess my question is it easier to balance family life with those? I know you have a lot of stuff going on, but I guess shorter runs. Is that...
Yeah, it helps, but then the shorter runs start to run into each other with multiple bands, so it becomes a long run inadvertently anyway. But
yeah,
it's really not like people ask me, like, how do you do it, man? It's not really that crazy a lot of the time because with All Pigs Must Die, everyone has other jobs. It's really hard to get us out on the road.
Okay.
With Converge, Kurt has a studio that he runs. Jake has a record label. Nate has other bands. Killer Be Killed, we haven't played in like over 2 years.
Right.
So... everyone's so busy in the other bands that it's just a matter of like organizing your calendar and coordinating calendars together, and that was that was a big hurdle we had to jump over to like get all this to work, was to actually figure out a shared calendar. So
I bet,
because I was like double booking stuff by accident. Like Mutoid and Converge were supposed to be like, one was supposed to be in France and one was supposed to be in like Switzerland at the same time. And I didn't realize it. I was like, shit, sorry.
That's wild, man.
So yeah, it's calendar organization.
I would imagine it's pretty
do.
intense. When you were young, did you have it in your mind that you were like, I want to play in a bunch of different awesome bands? Not really.
No, I mean, well,
of
actually,
course, maybe ideally,
I've sort of always been in, and now that I think of it, I've sort of always been in like a few bands at the same time.
Right.
Now I'm thinking back, like when I was in high school, I was in an emo core band called Bastion. I was in a pop punk band called Where's Ben. I was in.
Was that named after yourself? Did you name the band?
Yeah, because the first time we played a show, it was at an open mic night at the community college.
And you didn't show up?
I was at Taco Bell, so everyone said, "Where's Ben?" Where's Ben? Yeah. Formerly Kermit's dad, then Where's Ben?
Oh, okay. Kermit's dad. I guess Where's Ben is a slightly better upgrade.
Yeah. Which synchronicity-wise is really creepy because my daughter liked to be called Kermit for a while.
Whoa.
So Kermit's dad, it was creepy.
That is very creepy, man.
Super weird.
Wow. When did you start playing in Converge, speaking of Converge? Because I guess you came on like just prior to Jane Doe, was it?
Yeah, I started playing with Converge in like 99, and it was just as a fill-in. I had no idea that I would actually be in the band for good. I know they were like trying out other guys while I was playing with them. I think like in the very beginning. Like I think maybe like Braun from Mastodon was almost going to join, but he wanted to pursue, what Mastodon became with Bill at the time, or maybe it was in Today's the Day at the time. I don't remember, but yeah, like there were a bunch of guys that they auditioned, and I don't know, for some weird reason they picked me.
That seems to be a running theme with you. Was that not the same case with Killer Be Killed, where you filled in and then are you in the band, or how does that work?
Yeah, they just needed to fill in, and I didn't really know if they wanted me to be a full member of the band, but then we played together and it was really fun and everyone got along personally and musically, so they were just like, hey, let's do this. And I said, most definitely.
Absolutely.
So those are some awesome dudes to be in a band with, to say the least.
That's killer, man. You walked right into an all-star lineup.
Yeah, I mean, in fucking high school, I was jamming to Sepultura and Dillinger, and eventually became a huge Mastodon fan when they started. And
right.
So yeah, it's definitely a dream come true lineup.
That is trippy, man.
Yeah.
When did you start? I'd say, for me, I feel like I've always considered you to be kind of like the go-to post-hardcore, kind of like punk fury, but with chops guy. Mm-hmm. When did you study growing up, or are you mostly self-taught, or how did?
I had a couple drum teachers briefly when I first started, but it was mostly just through playing with other people that I learned. I just listened to a lot of stuff on headphones and tried to play along in my basement, just tried to figure out what they were doing.
Yeah.
I made a mixtape of like Sex Pistols, Ramones, and random pop punk bands, and just tried to figure out what they were doing. I had no idea what the fuck I was doing, but I tried to make the sounds that I heard, and that was how I tried to teach myself the songs. But I was in all the bands in high school, like jazz band and the orchestra concert band.
Me too, yeah.
That played like Eine kleine Nachtmusik or whatever it is.
Right.
And I was in a Blues Brothers cover band in high school too.
Awesome. God damn it, I love that movie growing up.
Yeah, and like
I'm
it
a
was
big
fun.
fan of,
it was fun. Yeah, was it Jake and Elwood? Those
That's
are
right.
two guys, right?
Absolutely.
So Jake and Elwood
We're on a mission
they were
from God.
spot on. They were spot on.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and they acted out the parts and everything. It was really
So
it was
killer.
really cool.
Y'all didn't
Yeah.
have a moment where in the church scene where James Brown does the flips, or no, it's John Belushi does flips down the aisle, and James Brown's the pastor
yeah.
at the church, and they see the light, and that's when they know they're on a mission from God.
Yeah.
God
yeah.
damn it, I love that movie.
Yeah, and actually, wait, who's the bigger one, Jake or Elwood? Who's Belushi?
Belushi would have been Jake, and Dan Aykroyd was Elwood, I believe.
Okay, so the dude
I hope
that was
I'm not
Jake,
fucking this up. I've seen this movie a million
I
times.
have no idea. Well, anyway, the Belushi character, the dude that was playing the Belushi character actually
Yes.
had like the exact same car that they had in the movie.
Amazing, the cop car? No way.
And it like backfired all the time and everything.
That's
it was
badass.
Fucking perfect.
Did they get to run some Nazis off the bridge because they hate Illinois Nazis by any
we
chance?
didn't, we
en
didn't
route
get to that step. No, we didn't have enough production, financial backing for production. So
That's amazing.
mostly state fairs and in the high school parking lot.
That is badass. Is there any video of this?
God, I hope not.
Oh, I hope
That'd be cool
so.
to see, though. No,
It
I don't
would
think
be.
so. Pre-cell phones, man. I'm old.
I'm even older, so I hear you, man. Growing up, did you grow up in Massachusetts?
Yes, I grew up in Douglas, Massachusetts, middle of nowhere town, kind of near Worcester, and Cape Cod after that. So,
Killer.
Yeah.
Cape Cod's beautiful.
Yeah, it's cool. It's taken a weird turn lately with, really cool drugs that people like to do.
I've been hearing about that.
Like that really cool drug fentanyl that's really great and does awesome things to your body.
Right.
Yeah, it's weird, man. Like where I grew up, people are starting to cook meth in their garages now and blow themselves up. It's crazy because
wild.
it was always the safest place anywhere.
Right.
When we were growing up, you were never worried about crime. There's no crime.
Yeah.
It was like so safe. And now
Yeah.
it's like,
Oh,
whoa, heroin, fentanyl,
Right.
meth,
Right.
OxyContin. Like
Right.
holy fuck.
Yeah, pharmaceutical industry has got a handle on it clearly because I think I just read a New York Times article where they were saying that in the last 2 years has been a 19% jump, and now drug overdose is the leading death amongst Americans under the age of 50. How
Yeah,
crazy is that?
I totally believe that. And this is definitely a Rogan tangent, but
Let's do it. Let's do it.
But there's another thing even more powerful than fentanyl now. Like fentanyl is like 100 times more powerful than heroin or something like that.
Jesus.
And then there's another kind of fentanyl that's like 100 times more potent than regular fentanyl,
Yeah.
apparently.
So how it's
so
like how
you could
powerful?
potentially have like a little piece of fentanyl like the size of this bottle cap.
Right.
And then you could cut it like 2,000 ways for $20 a pop. So like a drug dealer can have this little nugget in his wallet and then break it up like, 1,000 ways.
Jesus.
So it's easy to move and easy to sell and
That's
easy
scary.
easy to hide. Yeah, it's terrifying.
Jesus.
And no wonder people are dying because you're supposed to take like a speck and people take, I took too big of a speck and now I'm dead.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's
Crazy.
crazy.
Yeah, it sucks.
Once a serene town, now a drug addled's crazy. It's where strange the way that things take a turn. My
Yeah,
God.
I mean, I guess if you just avoid those, certain areas and situations where you would get involved in those things, you won't really have a problem
Yeah.
for the most part. But it exists. It's the seedy underbelly that's
Jesus.
there. Even where I live in upstate New York now, and there's a problem with heroin and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, a little while ago, some high school kid was, they found him dead behind a Bank of America in the woods, just
Yeah.
OD'd.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that supports the statistics I was just talking about. That's scary. I guess school-wise, man, if I had to judge your drumming as to what your sort of the pace at which you operate at a young age, were you fairly high-strung?
Yeah, definitely. I was in detention a lot. I
Yeah.
was suspended a lot from school.
Yeah.
I did like just enough to appease the people that needed to be appeased, like grades wise. I mean, the
Yeah.
only thing I really liked was, I liked math and English a whole lot.
Yeah.
Before I found like punk rock
Right.
and hardcore,
Punk rock
and then
fucked you up.
and then all I cared about was playing music, and that was the only thing I really put like most of my energy into.
I hear you. I struggled with attention issues and all sorts of stuff up until right about the time when I started playing drums and drum set, and I did kind of the same thing where I was in school band, a marching band, a jazz band, and all that stuff.
Yeah, all of it.
But I was talking to one of my friends. She's a psychiatrist or a therapist, and she said, when do you feel like you started, school got easier for you? And I said, well, right around the time that I started playing drums. And she's like, well, you had something to focus on, and because of that sort of everything else fell into line. And it's an interesting distinction that I would have never have thought to have made. I don't know.
that
Do you
makes
feel like
sense.
you kind of had a similar experience?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, It's weird. I feel like if I went to a doctor, in high school and said I'm having trouble focusing, they would have prescribed, whatever Adderall, Ritalin, like in a heartbeat.
Right.
So I'm glad I never did that. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of saw through I couldn't deal with the regimented bullshit of it all, and like the test taking never had any value to me. Like memorization of these random numbers and words, that wasn't like any kind of forward learning for me. It was just like, why can't we just have like one memorization exercise for like a week and then be done with that,
Mm-hmm.
and actually learn valuable things?
Right.
It was just all so just useless to me. Just couldn't take it seriously.
Do you find that you can memorize the form of music and retain it through your muscle memory pretty easily?
Yeah, I've never really had a problem with that. Just with compartmentalizing all the band songs, and yeah, I try to play a lot when bands aren't on tour. I try to practice a lot at home and just keep the songs fresh. So yeah, that's never really been a problem for me. I used to read music like in high school, and I kind of forgot how to do it.
I started a little bit as well, and kind of it's one of those things. It's just like language. I think it is a language pretty much.
Yeah,
It's like when you if you don't use it, you'll lose it a little bit.
A little bit,
Yeah.
But I mean, drum music, writing it out isn't very
it's not
complicated.
pitch. It's
Yeah.
just really rhythm.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, there's like
16th notes to
there's
quarter
like
notes,
six
whole
symbols
notes.
you gotta memorize. Yeah, the dotted quarters are always tricky.
I agree, and
Yeah.
and with breaks and this and that and the other, I hear you. I even get a little confused
Yeah,
with
but
it.
I mean, all that stuff that was never really what I wanted to. I just liked playing anything, but reading music and like the concert band stuff, I was just kind of like, well, this is
Right.
sort of a joke to me.
Right.
And I remember I auditioned or had to take some like snare drum test because I tried to go to the University of Miami. That was,
Oh,
like, one
yeah?
of my college picks to get in the music program.
Why? That's
And,
cool.
Yeah.
Just because Miami?
Because it was supposed to be a good music school. I guess
Oh,
I
okay.
had no fucking idea. It was
Yeah.
just like, I guess I'm supposed to go to college now.
Right.
I don't know. So I'm gonna try these schools, and
Yeah.
I did read like some snare drum piece and tried to do it, and I guess it wasn't that good. So
When you mentioned punk rock, was there any other like, sort of in hindsight, a seminal moment or a really pivotal moment that you feel influenced you in your playing up to this day? Was it if any particular guy that you grew up with was like, dude, check this out, and you were like, oh shit, and then and you look back, you're like, that was really a major moment, you know? Like you mentioned
I
punk
guess-
rock. When did you start getting into more metal stuff? I guess.
like Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
Like the seminal classic metal records, like the early Megadeth albums and stuff and stuff like that. Slayer albums, and my best friend in 8th grade and I just being like, all right, I'm gonna play drums, you play guitar.
That's how it goes.
No, actually, I think he was like, I'm gonna play guitar, you play drums. I was like, all right, that sounds cool. Lars is pretty rad. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, I'll be the Lars.
There you go.
You be the James.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it was a lot of it was actually a lot of like local bands too. I think that had more of an influence on me.
Absolutely.
Just like bands on the Cape that never left the Cape, but at the time were the best thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Like my first local show I ever went to, and just being a part of the scene, that was pretty attractive too. I think that had a lot to do with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I remember my first one as well, pretty much, and going to see it. And I remember thinking, man, all these drummers are so good.
Yeah,
I guess I need
every
to-
drummer I saw was the sickest drummer ever. And in hindsight, a lot of them were fucking awful. But
Right.
at the time, I was like, whoa. It was like the first time you see a fast punk beat, or the first time you see a blast beat, or the first time you see like a sick snare drum fill, like that. It's mind blowing seeing
Totally.
it, like live, like seeing someone competent and doing something you've never seen before.
Do you? I think it's funny the whole shitting on Lars. Speaking of Lars Ulrich thing, because all that conversation always seems to happen just between drummers that I guess hate on him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're filling stadiums. I mean, I don't know that that's the best analogy for it, but ultimately, what I'm saying is it didn't really matter that much what he did or didn't play, and inevitably it connected with people. And it's not like it's bullshit music. So I always thought the shitting on Lars thing was strange. And I hear only drummers.
It's just fun to do. That's the thing. It's just fun because they're a fucking reality show now. They're not even. They're so much bigger than a band. They're like Spinal Tap and Death Clock rolled into one. It's so. It's just funny. When Some Kind of Monster came out, like I can still just watch. If I start watching that, I have to watch it beginning to end. I can't. Yeah. I can't put it down.
You've watched it more than once.
Of course, I watch it all the time.
Really?
I love it.
That's amazing.
It's great. That's like my Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
Oh wow,
it.
okay.
I love
That's
it.
your reality show.
But no, in high school, like watching the live shit Binge and Purge videos.
Yeah.
I mean, like just seeing them in the arenas, and they were just so like relaxed and like didn't really give a fuck. They were fucking sloppy and just drinking a ton of beer, and the shower scenes. It was so like rock and roll, but metal. It was so. It was like just so fucking rock star, you know.
Yeah.
You wanted to be them so bad. I still want to be Lars. See, they're fucking awesome. They're still doing it.
It's crazy.
And they still play so hard. And you know, of course, they're gonna miss notes and shit, and it's gonna be sloppy as hell sometimes, but they get an A for effort still.
Right.
They're still fucking doing
absolutely
it. And
do.
Still packing stadiums. It's awesome. I love it.
I'm with you. Do you prefer, over the course of the career, are you more Metallica or more Megadeth, would you say?
I'm definitely more Metallica.
You are?
Yeah. I always, I don't know, Mustaine's voice always kind of bothered me.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
Yeah. Like Megadeth were a little more like technically proficient, and I was more about like vibe, and Metallica definitely had more of like a rock and roll vibe, you know, doing Seeger covers and
I love Bob
shit
Seger.
Like that. Yeah. And the Black Album, that was my shit. I mean, all the albums, but Black Album, I was like totally I was under the spell of the Black Album. It hit me at like a really pivotal time.
Yes.
When I think I was like 14 or like 13 when that came out.
Yep.
Yeah, it was so like larger than life.
I saw them on that tour. I mean, I'm old enough. I actually saw Megadeth on the Rust in Peace tour.
Shit.
I know. I'm getting fucking old, man. But that was incredible, man. They were really just on fire, and they felt like they were the biggest band in the fucking world when the Black Album came out. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Did you get much into Guns N' Roses?
Of course, yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Like before, like punk and metal and hardcore, I was definitely like totally glammed out.
Yeah.
Like first I discovered like New Kids on the Block, Milli Vanilli, when I was like 5 or 6, you know.
Okay.
And then I found out about Guns N' Roses and like Warrant and all the fucking hair bands.
Oh yeah.
All the singles. I fucking loved it.
Oh yeah.
Loved it. Def Leppard, Hysteria. So fucking good.
So good.
And then
what's the one prior to Hysteria? Oh no, the Pyromania.
Pyromania,
yeah. And then Hysteria is the one prior to that?
Yeah, Pyromania and then Hysteria.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, those records, it's funny when you go back and look at all the bands from the 80s, of which there are so many, be it like Judas Priest, Motley Crue, Ozzy's bands, Scorpions, all those bands. When you actually watch older footage of Def Leppard playing, nobody sounded better than them. Like, all of their harmonies were on par. They were really like a super tight, badass band.
Oh, they're awesome. Awesome. Yeah, like production masters.
Oh, yeah.
That Hysteria production is so out of control. So, like, blown out, big, bloated.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you're ever going to hear a record like that ever again.
Are those, or aside from that album, or some of there's some other records from that time that you still visit and you're like, you know what, this is still killer. This sounds amazing.
Absolutely.
Tons of them?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, all the classics, man. I mean, you can't deny Appetite for Destruction or Dr. Feelgood.
Yeah.
Or,
I think Shout of the Devil sounds fucking badass.
It's fucking great.
Yeah,
it's
the drums sound huge on that.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit totally holds up. Like the really classic ones. Yeah, that's never going to go out of style. Timeless.
Exactly, man. I talked a little bit about drum production as well. You can't kind of have that conversation without talking about John Bonham and Zeppelin. Are you a fan?
Biggest fan ever. Yeah. He's probably he's number one.
Yeah.
He's number one.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when that concert DVD came out in like 2003, I think 2002, 2003.
Yeah, the one that's got the live on the live from Albert Hall DVD and everything.
Yeah, it's got like the earlier discs and the later discs.
Yeah.
And the one Moby Dick solo.
Oh yeah.
the one that has like 1 billion views on YouTube or whatever.
Yes.
That I would just sit like my nose against the screen, just like
Yeah.
I can't believe this is happening right now.
You could hear the jazz influence, especially at that time. And I mean, those guys were obviously coming from the blues, but most of the drummers from that time were listening to jazz guys. And when one of the things
no one hit that hard.
I know he would hit hard, but his rolls were great. Like, I mean, Bonham was on.
Yeah, he had like jazz
fire.
chops too. Yeah,
That's what I thought was really interesting.
and he
about
tuned
him.
his heads really tight, and he was really good at tuning, so he could do those like
He had the best sounding
he
drums.
could do those like really fast rolls.
Yep.
Just from tuning it so tight, and he had those big. I guess he was a bricklayer before a drummer.
That's what
so he
I've
had
heard.
like those big bear paws, and he just crushed
Yeah.
with sticks or hands.
Right. Exactly. I love that he would play with his
And
hands.
playing the timpanis and the pitch shifting. Oh, it's incredible.
It's the fucking best, man.
Yeah.
Of the years that you've been on the road, or I guess we'll say more recently, what are some of the bands that you played with that you enjoyed watching?
Well, we usually try to pick bands that we like most of the time. So, usually all the bands we go out with are fucking great.
Are there any particular drummers? Didn't you all go out? Did Mutoid Man do some shows with Dillinger?
Yeah, we did shows with Dillinger. Billy Reimer is a fucking beast.
Yeah, he is.
We got to play some shows with Russian Circles.
Awesome.
And Dave is fucking great. He's
a great drummer.
Such a talented drummer.
Kansas City has some badass drummers, whether it's like guys from Shiner or Life and Times.
Oh yeah, Shiner. We just played with them too in Grand Rapids. They're great.
Was Jason Gherkin on drums?
I don't know the band. I just know Josh from the band, so I don't know their names. But they were fucking awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, just drum bros. Yeah, Bronze to Don and Dave Whitty and Chris Maggio, all my drum bros.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There's a lot of good drummers out there right now.
Yes, there are. Do you think that the internet has had, from what I've seen, I would say if you look back in previous times, you would never see so many younger people doing clinics. And would you attribute that to just access through the internet and everything? And that's what I attribute it to. You know what I'm saying? Because
yeah, I guess so. It's just a lot easier to reach people.
Yeah.
And just connect. And people just want that connection now. And
I think their ability is higher
of,
at a younger age, though.
Oh, definitely. The learning curve has changed.
That's what I'm
much,
saying.
So much. Yeah. I mean, you never. I mean, there's like fucking 5-year-olds like covering like Raining Blood like perfectly.
Right.
Like 5-year-old girls. It's fucking insane. Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah. Yeah, there's just so much out there. There's so many resources out there because of the internet. You just get in a YouTube wormhole.
Oh, it's crazy.
And if you're dedicated enough, you just learn like so quick.
Yeah.
If you want to.
Amazing.
If you're driven.
Well, going forward, man, any projects coming up or any recordings, or you've probably got a ton of shit. Where's the calendar take you from here, I guess we could say?
Well, I just did 4 records in a row.
Are you serious?
I did an album with The Armed from Detroit, who are fucking awesome.
Okay.
That's not out yet. And then I did the Mutoid Man record.
Congrats.
Thank you. And then I did a new All Pigs Must Die record.
Awesome.
That should be coming out in the fall. And then I did the new Converge record, which is almost done. Just finishing up vocals.
Tracking's all done. Drums.
Tracking's all done.
Killer.
18 songs.
Holy shit.
But they probably won't all make it on the record.
Okay.
And doing 2 Minutes to Late Night, the heavy metal talk show.
Awesome. Did you grow up watching David Letterman and late night shows? Were you a fan?
Yeah, I was a fan. I was like a Conan kind of guy.
Yeah.
He was a little more weird and.
I always loved him.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Anything else?
That's a lot.
Lots of touring. Worked with this company Room Sound and gave some electronic drumming samples to them. So you can there's a Kurt Ballou God City studio package you can get that has my drum loops on it. I did
awesome.
that. Yeah, and always getting into weird shit,
Badass.
Yeah.
Man, one last question about Converge. Given the geographical distances, all those guys are in Boston. How do y'all rehearse? Is it a lot of file sharing? Do you go up and rehearse occasionally, or how do y'all coordinate that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, we'll just block off, a week of time to rehearse here and there, and just play when we can. And I'm only about a 3-hour drive, which is like no big deal to
Right.
me since I go on tour all the time. And like a long drive is like 12 hours to me now because of being on tour. So
Yeah.
driving 3 hours is like going to the corner store. Yeah, we make it work. Just, trade riffs back and forth. You know, you can use Dropbox and stuff now to
Exactly.
share riffs and keep all your shit organized in one place. And yeah, just listen over and over again. Yeah, it's much, much easier to write songs these days, I think.
I would absolutely agree.
With all those cool little gadgets and gizmos that have been invented.
Yeah, man. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Ben, man, thanks for talking to me. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Good luck tonight. I can't wait to hear this new record live, my man.
Right on. Can't wait to play.
Killer.
All right. Another one bites the dust. Thanks to Ben and the Mutoid Man guys for kicking out the jams, and try to catch them on this tour with Seattle's Helms Lee, whose drummer Hazoji I also interviewed. And which episode, by the way, is coming out next week, so be on the lookout for it. Get out the house and support live music already. But stick around for Wreck and Survive off the new Mutoid Man record, War Moans, available everywhere. Get out and get it. Crash, bang, boom.
Survive to feel alive. Burn out your name. Out of the sun, you'll become easy prey. Wreck and survive to feel alive and burn out your name. Take inventory and tell us your story. Get up and walk away.